Uh, Very warm good morning to all the participants at all the noodle centers, and welcome to the morning session of the fourth day of the training program, that is on technology management on, and that is today is 24th February 2000 25th February 2016, and the day is Thursday. Today we have our speaker for the session with us, Dr. Uday S. Racherla. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Racherla to you. Dr. Uday Racherla is currently a professor of innovation and intellectual property management at the Industrial and Management Engineering Department of IIT Kanpur. Prior to this, he taught briefly at the Johns Hopkins University, Carey School of Business, USA, as an adjunct professor. And Professor Racherla has over 25 years of experiences in global innovation, leadership, and management domain. He held many top executive management positions in Fortune 500 companies, including Senior Director of R&D Innovations, Enterprise R&D Innovation at PepsiCo, Worldwide Director of R&D at SC Johnson, Director of R&D at New Skin Enterprises, and other senior executive positions at Unilever, all in USA. In addition, Dr. Racherla has also research experience at National Chemical Laboratory, Pune, and innovation and commercialization experience at Hindustan Unilever Limited in India. Dr. Racherla has innovated, patented, and launched many new technologies in successful commercial products worldwide. Dr. Racherla has his PhD degree in chemistry from Purdue University under a Nobel laureate, postdoctoral research experience from the Ohio State University, and an executive MBA from the Kellogg School of Management, USA. He has also published over 120 scientific research papers from academia and industry in prestigious journals such as Nature, and has 9 patents to his credit. So, sir, on behalf of NITTT Chandigarh and all the noodle centers, we welcome you for sparing time from your valuable schedule and coming over here to share the knowledge on the sessions that have been planned during this training program. And I also thank and welcome Dr. S.K. Dhimeja, who is Professor and Head EDSC Department, that he is here with us to bless us with his gracious presence. Now, without coming between you and Dr. Racherla, I am handing over the platform to Dr. Racherla to deal the first session on technology management and innovation, followed by another session on significance of innovation in creating value. We welcome you, Racherla sir. It is all yours. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank Dr. Dhimeja and also my friend Amardev, who has taken interest in inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come to NITTTR, and it's an honor and privilege to stand here and also be able to talk to all of the colleges and universities that are present here today. Hopefully I can share some of my experience with you. Okay, the topic that I'm going to be covering is technology management and innovation, but in particular what I would like to do is give you Fortune 500 industry insights and perspectives. So the goal for my 2 sessions is to provide Fortune 500 industries insights and perspectives for technology management and innovation, to highlight the exceptional value they create for any R&D organization. And what I would like to be doing in session 1 is concepts and frameworks for technology management and strategic innovation. That's the first part. And in the second session, what I would like to do is examples for value creation through strategic innovation. And these examples that I'm going to be covering from my own research and development background. So you are going to have a practitioner sharing his own innovation experiences with you. Okay? Hopefully that would be interesting and instructive. So let's get started with session 1. Concepts and frameworks for technology management and strategic innovation. The purpose of different organizations is very important to understand in the context of technology management. Let's look at academia. If you look at academia, the pursuit of knowledge there is for the advancement of knowledge. And as a result, these institutions engage in research and teaching. Okay? And if you consider industry, their pursuit of knowledge is because of society's needs, wants, and challenges. They would like to create either products or services for solving society's needs, wants, and challenges, and therefore they conduct actually research and development. Similarly, if you consider national laboratories of India, they are trying to address nation's needs and wants, and therefore they too do research and development. So wherever research and development are both involved, management of technology becomes very critical. Okay? Central framework, let's look at it. If you have a firm, okay, firm will have a vision and a mission. I'll explain to you what those terms are, and I'm sure in fact in the previous talks that you have already had, I understand that you have already been explained very well. This mission and vision then translates into organizational objectives that are both short-term, medium-term, and long-term. But no organization can say that we set our organizational objectives and then we just go on to do what we want to do. The fact is, all these organizational objectives will be operating under severe constraints and limitations, and also competitive pressures and risks. There will be no organization whose organizational objectives are not challenged by constraints and limitations as well as competitive pressures and risks. And now, if that organization, there are 3 outcomes that the organizations can do. One is meet the organizational objectives, the other is fail to meet the organizational objectives, and the third one is exceed the organizational objectives. If you do these 2 things, either meet or exceed your organizational objectives, then you would say that your organization is creating value. Okay? But if you can do it on a continual basis, year in and year out, for 50 years or even 100 years, then you will say that such a company such a firm is actually creating sustainable value. Means you know how to create value year in, year out for all your stakeholders. So that's the central framework. Now, what must a firm do to deliver sustainable value? That's the next question. So a firm must design and implement a robust strategy to deliver sustainable value. Now there are 2 words here that I have used. One is strategy and the other one is robust, an adjective. So the question is, first thing is, what is strategy then? And so a firm actually looks at tries to develop internal insights and external insights. Okay? These internal insights are like, for example, the kind of workforce that I have, the kind of access to capital that I have, and the kind of technologies that my firm possesses. So all the resources and capabilities are essentially internal insights. External insights are, what kind of competition do I have, what kind of technologies my competitors have, what kind of requirements my customers have or my consumers have, and of course what are the economic conditions. Those are all external insights. Now those things will translate then into vision, which is what the company or what the organization wishes to do long term. And then that translates into mission. And mission is nothing but what the organization stands for today. So once the company decides what it wants to do, let us say 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's kind of an aspirational wish, right? Now, for that, every step, every long journey starts with a single step. So that is the mission part. And of course, there are also something called values. This is how the organization chooses to do its mission and vision, execute its mission and vision. You are not going to do anything and everything possible to get your mission and vision. There are certain values that even firms follow, and that's the values. And these all translate into organizational objectives. So when we say organizational objectives, it's a combination of mission, vision, and values. It's always together. And that essentially, first of all, organizational objectives are what and how the organization prioritizes to do. This entire thing is referred to as strategy. Okay, so when we say strategy, it's all of these combined. Okay, now, so, but what organization actually physically executes are the organizational objectives, which are short term, medium term, and long term. Now, what is a robust strategy then? Robust strategy is positive, differentiated, and resilient, and one that delivers sustainable value. So, I'm sorry, and is robust strategy is, I should say, correct. The reason why I'm talking about robust strategy even here is to point out that, in fact, if you saw that organizational objectives will be challenged by what you call risks and competitive pressures, as well as constraints and limitations. So when you have to have a strategy, that strategy has to be robust enough to be, number one, proactive. It should not be reactive. Number two, it should be differentiated, something that you can do better than your competitors. And third, it has to be resilient. Resilient means it's like a chess game. When your competitor moves one step, you think 2 steps ahead of that competitor and actually will be reacting. That's the point. That's a robust strategy. But this always, again, as I said, comes with risks and constraints. So any strategy will have constraints and risks, as I was telling you. So what must a firm do to overcome risks and constraints? Organizations must embrace innovation to overcome risks and constraints to deliver sustainable value. Okay? So that is the key point. This is the context of, therefore, whenever you have constraints and risks, you have to have innovation as your tool to overcome those risks and constraints to deliver sustainable value. Okay, now then the question is, what is innovation then? So innovation can be defined as the generation and implementation of new or improved processes, services, products, production methods, or single actions aimed at increasing the competitiveness of an enterprise. So ultimately, whatever you do, you should be able to solve the problems in the society, challenges of the society, or the needs or wants of the society, and then you should make your own organization competitive. Okay, this is the relevant reference for that. Now, what are different types of innovation? So I would like to cover this because literature is littered with names for innovations and it's often very confusing. So as a practitioner, I thought it's important for us to actually learn what are these different terms that are being used. Now, innovation classification can be done based on, number one, what is the goal? Number two, who is doing it? 3, 4, 5, 6. How is it done? Last one, what is the outcome? So these 4 questions will give you 7 different types of innovation. So let's look at each one of them. For instance, goal basis. If the innovation is going to be about commercial proposition, that would be considered as a commercial innovation. And if the innovation is about, has no profit goals, then, and no commercial goals, then it would be considered as non-commercial innovation. Okay. So commercial innovation actually tries to deliver wealth and value, whereas non-commercial innovation actually tries to generate only value. To give you an example, like Florence Nightingale, when she actually became a nurse and actually taught the world about nursing, she generated value. She didn't generate actually wealth. Okay, that is an example of non-commercial innovation. Okay. Second one is on innovator basis. So innovation can be based on an individual, then it's called individual innovation. It can be based on based in an organization, that would be considered as organizational innovation. It can be based in community, that's called community-based innovation. The last one is a hybrid. So to give you an example of, I'll give you some examples of individual and organizational innovations later on. But community-based innovation is when people are using Linux and trying to come up with innovations. That would be considered as a community-based innovation, because no individual he is actually, everything is open to all the people, all the innovators. Process basis. So innovation can be structured, that is organizational innovation, or it can be flexible, that is jugaad innovation. Okay. Then let's look at value source basis. Innovation can be technological innovation, or it can be business model innovation. Okay. Now, resource basis. Innovation can be closed innovation, which means all the innovation activities actually happen within the four walls of the company using company's resources and company's funds. Okay. Open innovation, which combines ideas and resources from outside with own capabilities. So it's a mix of your own ideas plus ideas and inventions from outside as well. Okay, that is considered as open innovation. Now, as a matter of fact, many research and development organizations across the world actually are embracing what is known as open innovation. So you do have research and development centers with maybe a large number of R&D scientists and engineers, but you also have a porous R&D structure, so you can get ideas from outside, you can get inventions from outside, you can get technologies from outside. Okay. Then the approach basis. Innovation can be market pull innovation. So what is a market pull innovation? If your firm actually understands the customer needs and the consumer needs, or customer challenges or consumer challenges, and try to actually produce a product or a service to solve that problem or challenge, then that product or service that you have developed will be readily pulled by the market. Because what happens is it's the market that suggested to you a need that is unmet or undermet, and you actually made a product against that need, and therefore market will readily welcome your product or service and accept it. That's why it's called market pull innovation. The other one is technology push innovation. Technology push innovation means you actually started working in laboratories and came up with an invention which you converted into a technology. Now you then look for where is this technology going to be useful. At the time of developing technology, you're not thinking in terms of immediate practical uses, because the science and engineering itself is very important, therefore you did it. But now you can see that clearly. Once you develop the technology, you actually look for where is it going to be useful, identify those consumer needs or challenges, and adapt that particular technology to actually develop, to be introduced into a product or service to solve that problem or need. That is called technology push innovation. Design based innovation is the third kind. You probably also hear this a lot. Design based innovation is the following. There are many times consumers are unable to articulate what they need, but there is a need, okay, or there's a better way of doing what they have been doing. That researchers and developers can actually, R&D scientists and engineers, by that I mean R&D scientists and engineers, can actually look at this kind of customers and consumers and in their own natural habitat and figure out, look, there is a way of doing what you're doing much better than the way you're doing it, and coming up with a product and designing a product to base that need, right? Amazon is a prime example of design based innovation. Amazon, now we have in India. Okay, outcome basis innovation can be sustaining innovations or disruptive innovations. We hear these terms also. Sustaining innovations can be incremental or radical or breakthrough. So incremental innovation is innovation that improves a product in an existing market in ways that customers are expecting. Okay, so let us say I have a soap that I continuously sell. So what I do is, in order to make the customers not leave my franchise, I will introduce different fragrances every 1 year. Okay, or I'll change packaging every 1 year, or I'll increase the size of the package, size of the soap, and say 20% more soap for the same price. These are all called incremental innovations. Radical or breakthrough, an innovation within an existing market that solves problems using a new technological route but doesn't create any substantial new market. So the example for that, something like that would be, at the time when people were using only bar soaps, let's look at that, and a new technology called liquid soap technology has come. So you don't have to use a bar soap to cleanse your body. So coming up with a liquid soap instead of bar soap would be considered as a breakthrough, because now what happens, liquid soap can be used by multiple people in a hygienic way for taking bath, whereas a bar soap cannot be used by multiple people within the same time, in a single day, for instance, without transmitting germs from one to another. So that would be considered as a radical or breakthrough technology. Disruptive innovation, new or improved, unexpected. An innovation that creates a new market by applying a different set of values. Eventually, after sustaining technology improvements of its own, it is able to invade established markets as well. The prime example for this is, if you see Apple. When Apple came up with the personal computer for the first time, its capacity was pitiful actually, except that it is a very unique thing, okay, and they created a market for a very small set of people, right? And it was totally new and unexpected. Nevertheless, when the technology improvements, they improved the technology so much, so rapidly, that at some point they challenged IBM mainframe computers. IBM actually knew about the technology of laptop computers, but personal computers, not laptop, personal computers, but they thought that that will never be a competition for mainframe computers, and wrong, they were indeed very wrong. As a matter of fact, when these personal computers, the technologies improved, then actually they replaced the use of mainframe computers in many industries, as we know. Now that would be considered as a disruptive innovation. Okay, so usually what happens is sustaining innovations are done by incumbent firms, means firms that have been existing in business for a long time, whereas disruptive innovations are done by new entrant firms. The reason for that is the revenues that you can expect, or the profits that you can expect from a disruptive innovations will be not very significant in the beginning. So only new entrants can afford to do that, right? That I'm not ruling out that incumbent firms can never ever do it, but the probability for disruptive innovations to happen almost always comes from new entrants. Okay. Now, what is innovation management? So, organizations' success or failure depends upon external challenges. Okay, so that is, for example, customer needs, okay, competitive pressures, economic conditions. These are all external challenges. If we don't understand them, and these are, by the way, these are not static, these are dynamic. Customer needs keep on evolving, competitive pressures keep on evolving, economic conditions keep on evolving. So therefore, your success or failure depends upon how well you are prepared and how well you can adjust and how well you can actually overcome these problems. Third thing is political climate, globalization, okay, technology challenges, technology changes, internal capabilities and financial situation. These are all internal challenges. So the idea is, however, the capability to manage all these conflicting forces, okay, and coming out successfully at the other end is actually innovation management, because you must be innovative in solving all of these different problems and still achieving spectacular success, better than your competition, doing faster than your competition. That's why it's called innovation management. So now, what is technology management? Technology management involves the design and execution of a firm's technology strategy to achieve sustainable value. So let's look at the relationship. Here is the technology strategy, and technology strategy is managed in technology management, and innovation management actually includes technology management. By that I mean, innovation management, there are two kinds of innovations that you are managing. One is business innovations, the other is technology innovations. So technology innovations is what you manage in technology management, but innovation management also manages business innovations. So we must remember that. So that is the relationship. So that I want you to remember. So innovation management is bigger than technology management, and technology management manages technology strategy. Okay. What are the steps for technology strategy therefore? So technology strategy has got 3 different steps: formulation, implementation, and evaluation and control. So let's look at them individually. What are the building blocks of technology strategy formulation? One is strategic IP planning. Okay, so I'll explain that. Second one is technology forecasting. Third, technology road mapping. Fourth, technology scouting. These 4 different steps will be considered as part of technology strategy formulation. Okay, then, so what are the building blocks of technology strategy implementation? That is technology acquisition, so that means licensing or buying the technology, and new technology development. So every company goes through this step. Okay, every R&D goes through this. Like, would you like to actually develop this by yourself exclusively? That would be considered as make. Or would you like to partner with others? Okay, that is so the difference is, would you like to do it as a closed innovation or would you like to do it as open innovation? That's the difference. Okay, then what are the building blocks for technology strategy evaluation and control? These are the steps: technology assessment, okay, technology improvement, and new technology search. So you do technology assessment, take a stock of what you have, then you make sure that you have improved your technologies, and then making sure that you are making adjustments to the and optimizations that are necessary. And at the same time, if your technologies are reaching a saturation point, then you actually go back to new technology search, and again it starts all the way from technology strategy formulation. So it's a cyclic process. Okay, so why technology strategy? So Peter Drucker, one of the management gurus from Harvard School of Business Management, points out that the question that faces the long-term planner is not what we should be doing tomorrow, but it is what we have to do today to be ready for an uncertain tomorrow. So very, very nicely pointed out. So technology strategy is not about planning for what we should, it's not about what we should be doing tomorrow, but it is what we have to do today to be able to be ready for an uncertain tomorrow. The reason that uncertain is also very important is that even if you plan based on what you know today, okay, and then you want to do it, then what happens is, because the future is uncertain, there are things that you must be constantly adjusting. That's what that means. So your technology strategy should be dynamic and not static. Okay, now let's look at technology strategy for today, tomorrow, and the day after. Patent mapping and landscaping. Okay, now what is patent mapping and patent landscaping? This is very important. See, when you are an R&D, you must know that you should use patent mapping as a tool to search, organize, and analyze patent literature, to transform raw patent data into intelligible, meaningful, and informative information. This is done usually using visual graphs, charts. There are very, very specific things. I'm not going to go into detail, but there are these tools available, okay, that companies, inventors, universities can utilize to identify opportunities of economic and social value and make strategic technology or business decisions. So that is what is really patent mapping and patent landscaping. Now, what are the opportunities and strategies? So suppose you have a patent 1, okay, and you are here. Now, there are 2 more patents, patents 2 and patent 3, that you don't own, okay, and patent 4. So now, would you be actually starting a company, a startup, an entrepreneurial startup based on your patent 1, or would you actually also, sorry about this, I think I should switch it on. Would you have to take, you cannot simply say, like the ostrich that buries the head in the sand and say that I don't care about P2, P3, P4, I'm going to start my company based on P1. You must at least be cognizant that there are patents surrounding your patent that limits the growth of your company, because if you don't take care, you're going to be having problems. So what we need to do is say, I would like to actually own the area around my patent P1. So I will say P2 is an acquisition opportunity. P3 is also an acquisition opportunity. Okay. P4 is a licensing opportunity. So I have decided that I'm going to own the area, and the way that I'm going to own the area is by getting P2 and P3 through acquisition and P4 through licensing. Okay. Why is that important? Because you want to own the area and not just a patent, which is P1. You already have P1. Why do you need to do that? Because the point is you're not only interested in here and now, but you're also interested in tomorrow and the day after. Therefore, growth is concerned. You're concerned about not only succeeding today, but you're also interested in your growth and expansion. Therefore, you have a good plan now that to get P2, P3 and P4. Okay, let us say there is similarly another area called P prime, okay, and there is still another area called P double prime and P triple prime, okay. These are all what you call patent cluster areas, okay, just like P1, P2, P3, P4 is a patent cluster area, okay. Now you have P prime, P double prime and P triple prime also. Now this is called white space. That means this particular space is still open for exploration, open for what you call inventions, open for patenting, and open for owning. This is also white space. So if you want to go for new innovations in a proactive way, to be faster than, you want to introduce products faster than competition, or you want to introduce products better than your competition, you must capitalize on the white space opportunities, and those are innovation opportunities. Okay, so you can also decide that in P double prime it can be a new market entry opportunity based on the technologies that you have. So okay, and this could be a new joint venture opportunity, P triple prime. This is essentially called is possible, your growth, that means you are planning for not just for 1 year, you are planning for 5 years, 10 years and 15 years, how your company you would like to grow. And so you have already mapped out the patent spaces of importance to you, and you're going to be following them on a continual basis. That's what you do if you are a company with interested in growth. What are the benefits of patent mapping? So patent mapping is done to identify white space opportunities, okay, and so to develop a growth strategy and start technology forecasting, also to have innovation opportunities, new market entry strategy, and IP portfolio strategy. By the way, the IP portfolio strategy is also very, very important, because what happens is you as a company may not be using all the intellectual property that you have, but are you going to be sitting on your intellectual property paying maintenance fees? So the idea here is to take a stock at your mission, vision, and then decide what patents in your patent portfolio fit the bill for your future what you call vision, and what do not. If they do not fit and they are very valuable to someone else, so what you do is either you license or you actually sell and create an alternative stream of revenues for your company, and that's all part of IP portfolio strategy. Okay, of course it can be through acquisition, licensing and JV, which means you one of them is, like I was telling you, the way I have described here is like, when you have future growth opportunities, how are you going to acquire? That is, you acquire or license or you start joint ventures. But there's also, as part of this I have not pointed out, is the out licensing or outselling. So this is all about in licensing or acquisition, right? Bringing technologies inside the company. You can also sell your technologies to outside firms and create an alternative stream of revenues. That's all part of IP portfolio strategy. Now, technology forecasting. This is all part of technology formulation, okay, which is part of technology strategy. Okay, what is technology forecasting? Technology forecasting is a method for predicting the future characteristics and timing of a specified technology. Means, remember I told you, after you did the patent mapping, you have identified certain technologies that either you have to license or you have to acquire, okay, and also, or therefore you need to know how that technology is going to be useful to you 5 years from now, 10 years from now. For that you have to use technology forecasting. Okay, now when feasible, technology forecasting provides predictions about a specific technology in terms of future technological parameters, future technological attributes, and future technology capabilities. Means this technology 5 years from now would reach a point where it can have 2 or 3 more capabilities than what it is currently designed for. Okay, that kind of prediction you should be able to do with the technology, and that's why you want to acquire the technology or license the technology. One need not describe how the actual solutions are going to come about in technology forecasting. So it's about trying to making solid educated guess about where the technology would be 5 years from now or 10 years from now, but not saying it will get there because of this particular way of doing it or that particular way of doing it. You need not describe exactly how actual solutions are going to take this particular technology from point A to point B in the future, but it is based on your expert knowledge and you are going to decide that this particular technology will go from point A to point B, and that's where, and it will have these additional capabilities. That's what it is. Okay, technology forecasting is essential when a decision must be made between planning the delivery of project immediately in terms of currently available technology, or planning the project delivery in the future by exploring an emerging technology that has the potential to deliver superior results, not currently fully developed. Okay, so if the project delivery is going to be in the future, and you know that the project delivery has got much more significant requirements than what it is delivering today, then if you think that the technology is going to evolve into a superior position, that's what I mean that, and then therefore you can definitely plan on keeping that in your portfolio, right? So that's what this is, planning the project delivery in the future by exploring emerging technology that has the potential to deliver superior results. One needs to understand how the future technology developments will influence the current technological choices and future results. Okay. Now, technology forecasting also deals with useful machines, procedures, and techniques. And it's very important to point out that technology forecasting is most appropriately applied to general capabilities and not the specific characteristics of specific devices. Okay. Remember, so technology forecasting is like a broad painting, painting with a broad brush, not painting with fine brush. Just remember, what the picture is going to look like, you are painting with a broad brush. Okay, that's the important point to remember. Finally, technology capabilities tend to grow exponentially in many instances until they reach some natural limit. Examples, the ones aircraft speed, computer memory size, memory access speed, horsepower or liter of an internal combustion engine, for example. Those are some of the examples. Okay, this is because synergy results as new technology builds on older technology. That's number one. Synergy often results in an unexpected and sudden increase in capability. You can't predict that synergy. Exact technological forecasting is thus very difficult because synergies are difficult to predict. See, one particular technology may come and improve another one very, very differently. Let me give you an example. When about 30 years ago, at least, when I was much younger, we used to go into a bookstore to buy a book. When a professor used to suggest, then we used to write down the title, and we used to go to a bookstore, local bookstore, and ask them, and chances are the bookstore fellow will say, we don't have it, we have to order, and then it will take time, right? Now, when Amazon recognized this, and internet technology has come, okay, and internet technology has changed the way people can connect, both customers who are buying the books and sellers who are selling the books. And so suddenly what they did was, internet connected both the sellers and the buyers, and it not only they connected, a buyer was able to see 1,000 titles, not just the one title that the professor suggests. How many of you actually, if a professor suggests a book, how many of you will go to a bookstore and say, do you have this? Or would you say you will go to Amazon or Flipkart and actually look at it first and see how many different titles are there? In fact, even if you don't want, Amazon or Flipkart will say, people who looked for this particular book also searched, and then they will present to you 50 different titles. So that's the difference. So therefore, that kind of synergy between, that internet brought is very hard to predict. Nobody predicted that internet would change our lives as much as it did from 30 years ago. Okay? Technology forecasting. It can be quantitative or qualitative. So qualitative methods extrapolate history by generating statistical fits to historical data. I am giving you only concepts rather than going deeper into the methods. That would be for a different day. Some methods also deal with complex interdependencies. Qualitative methods may also be based on projections of the past, but information sources in such models rely on the subjective judgments of experts. So basically what happens is, subjective judgment of experts. If you are an expert who has been working in this area for 15 or 20 years, your insights matter. Okay, so you can say that though something is predicting to be that it can have the capability like X and Y in 5 years, you will say no, it's going to be doing much better than that. It's going to be actually Z, not X and Y. It's going to be significantly more, 50% more than that. That kind of expertise, that kind of insights only experts will have. Okay, therefore qualitative methods are also important. Now, technology road mapping. This is another very important thing. Technology road mapping is this. Once your vision is very clear, you know what kinds of product lines you are going to be engaging in as a company. Just remember, I talked about a company not interested in today, but interested in tomorrow and the day after. Remember, I was saying that. That means a company interested in growth. That has to plan for both medium term and long term growth. And let us say these are the various products that you are, product 1 through product 9, that you are interested in. And you will say that technology 1 will enable me to solve the needs for product 1, product 2, product 3 for the next 3 years. Whereas I need to have technology 2 so that I will be able to I will be able to develop products 4, 5 and 6 in the medium term. And I need to have technology 3 to develop product 7 and 8 and 9 in the long term. That means in the horizon of 8 to 12 years, I do have this other technology also. Now this is called technology road mapping. Okay, let me give you an example. This example is a breakfast cereal, okay, frosted mini flakes, okay, So let's look at this. Short term, for example, when I was at Pepsi, Indra Nooyi went and announced on the Wall Street that we are going to become a healthy company by 2020, and she also said we are going to increase our revenues by $30 billion. So it was not a small thing. From $60 billion to $90 billion, she went and promised. So as the head of R&D on one of the divisions, so we all had to really work hard. So the point is, right at that point of time, we were selling sugar-coated cornflakes. Let us say, think of it that way. Now we have to make that particular product healthy, we have to do multiple things. Like for example, technology 1 for sugar reduction by 20%, technology 2 for sugar reduction by 50%, technology 3 for sodium reduction by 50%, technology 4 for fat reduction by 75%, technology 5 for enhancing protein and fiber by 50%. This is how you make something that is very tasty and enjoyable. So, 2, tasty, enjoyable, and also very healthy. So therefore this requires incredible technologies. I mean, it is, you wouldn't believe, because these technologies are not like what is there in a breakfast cereal, you might think. There is one hell of a lot of technology, biology, biochemistry, biophysics and chemical engineering, and you name it, they're all there in this. Okay, and in fact, by the way, we have MD PhDs collaborated with me on this particular work. So the point I'm going to say is that this is called technology road mapping. In other words, preparing with what kinds of technologies are needed to do that. Your goals are set, and now you have to develop the technologies. Technology scouting. Technology scouting is a company's way of scanning and monitoring the external technology environment, current and emerging, for the timely identification of key technologies that could provide competitive advantage through the use of a network of subject matter experts, both internal and external, channeling the information back to the company. So this is called technology scouting. Okay, so once you have decided what technologies, your technology roadmap is decided, then you need to say, where can I get these technologies, how can I make this happen, my plan, which is technology roadmap, happen, right? Now technology scouting helps the company to plan the following: assess the risk of new or disruptive technology, so you can easily assess the risk of new or disruptive technologies and plan its research and development in the current and relevant new technology areas. So you can plan. So once you know the risk of new and disruptive technologies, you can plan your R&D better. Let's think of it that way. Technology acquisition. Technology acquisition can happen in two ways. Closed approach, which means you are going to use your own people, you are going to use your own funds to brainstorm, come up with the ideas, come up with the projects and execute them and achieve your results. That is a closed approach. Open approach, technology development is highly porous, so you may be actually accessing a technology from outside. You'll say, I'll license that, or I'll buy that technology, okay, or I'll start a joint venture with them. So that is considered as open approach. Okay, and decide the mode of procuring the emerging technology. Okay, then so that's what is called technology acquisition. Then last one is strategic alliances. What is strategic alliances? When done correctly, strategic alliances between organizations allow them to share resources and expertise in a mutually beneficial manner. Why do you do that? If you look at it, if even if my, let us say, strategic plan for the next 5 or 10 years is very clear, if I engage all my funds, all my people for doing this, the risks are also very high. Suppose I fail, then the risks are, I'm going to bear all the risks. Instead, if I actually partner with other companies, then I can share my risks. Okay. Then to gain access to new technologies, products and markets, because all the technologies that I want, I possibly cannot develop. There can be someone who has developed and I can access them readily. To reduce the cost, to achieve economies of scale, and to lower individual risks. These are the benefits of strategic alliances. Okay. What are strategic alliances? There are many types. One is called innovation networks. Okay. So basically what you do, you as a company, suppose you have to have raw materials. Now those raw materials can be supplied by someone else, okay, and you can partner with them, or you can actually you can own them. For instance, you can own even your raw materials. There are many soap manufacturers who own fatty acids that they require for manufacture. On the other hand, they can actually partner with someone and innovatively and say that, look, we want this kind of fatty acids for our soaps, so can you please develop them? So that would be so the innovation is actually transferred to your supplier rather than in-house. It's done in-house. Licensing, okay, that's self-explained. Outsourcing, there are times when there are routine parts of your business work that you should not do it, because if you do that, if you employ people to do routine kind of work, then what happens is you're paying salaries, you're paying benefits, you're paying all of those things, and therefore the amount of money that you can spend on creative, innovative projects will decrease. So therefore outsourcing is probably a better way of doing it. Okay. Clusters. When you are doing certain R&D for the future, there can be, you can actually partner with similar companies, okay, but maybe they are all interested in the same company, same technology, but for different end purposes. So you can actually form a cluster and develop the technologies in such a way that all the people who are part of the cluster can benefit. Okay, Silicon Valley in USA, there are high-tech cities in Bangalore and Hyderabad which are examples of that. R&D consortia. So you can actually collaborate as R&Ds. Then R&D collaboration. P&G, Flaminet, R&Ds collaborate on high throughput technology. For example, you may have a specific technological need, so your R&D can partner with an outside R&D only for that particular limited thing. Clusters and R&D consortia are more about white space opportunities. Okay, or a particular technologies that we do not know whether it's beneficial to you or not yet, but you want to explore it as part of a group called a cluster, and when it reaches a particular stage, then you will take that technology and develop it further in your own R&D. Okay, so those are the points that I really wanted to talk to you, and I can take questions.
Any questions from any of the noodle centers? Any questions?
The center was late.
Okay. First we come to GSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. GSS Academy, are you with us?
Hello.
Hani, welcome sir, welcome. Okay. If you have, feel free to ask, nothing to be worried of. Any question from your mind, your personal perspective, or your organization perspective. Any question? No? Okay, thank you.
I think someone is.
It is there. You should GSS Academy. Welcome. Sure, why not? Welcome.
By all means, absolutely.
Somebody has got something patented in nowadays electronic technology, and it could be copied. How can we protect it?
Sorry, can you repeat the question a little bit? Speak into the microphone.
अगर कोई पेटेंट कराता है कोई चीज, or it can be copied in some different form. So how can you protect that patent?
Okay. If the patent is a utility patent and the claims are drafted carefully, then proving that a particular claim has been actually infringed upon. What you mean as copying is actually infringing on a claim of a patent that can be easily proven in a court. Okay. For instance, let me give you an example. There are pharmaceutical companies that come up with a specific drug molecule for a specific drug application. Okay. All right. Now, a generic drug manufacturer in India actually, let us say, copies the patent and tries to produce the drug. Okay. And when the person actually tries to sell, first of all, the generic drug manufacturer cannot patent, because if the person tries to patent in India the same drug, then what happens is the patent application in, let us say that patent application is in Switzerland. The patent application in Switzerland becomes prior art to this particular patent, and the patent examiner in India will reject it, saying that you cannot get a patent on this because there is prior art. Okay. Now, if you still want to actually produce a drug and sell in India, okay, if you want to produce a drug and sell in India, assuming that the pharmaceutical company from Switzerland doesn't have a patent in India, now what happens is you can do that. Nobody can prevent a generic drug manufacturer from making the drug using the exact same procedure, which means copying and selling in India. But if the person wants to take a patent, then that person will be jailed. I mean, first of all, not jailed, but will not be allowed. He will be jailed certainly if that person wants to sell the drug in Switzerland for a cheaper price. Does it make sense to you?
Hope you got the
I hope you got that.
you have got the answer. It is these rights are nationalized rights in a sense.
Territorial rights.
Territorial rights. That where you have filed your intellectual property, say patent or copyright or other forms, so you are restricted to use. And nobody else can use that in that territory.
Correct.
But in other territory it can be used, but it will not be protected in the new person's name. For example, there are many technologies. You may have filed a patent in India, but anybody in US can manufacture it if you have not filed a patent in US. But that person in US can't get the patent in his name, because since it is already anywhere, because since it is already in the in your name over here. And second thing is that if you feel that it has been done, so you can take the legal mechanism involved into it.
Yes.
I had a separate session on IPRs. I feel so you must have missed that session. But anyhow, we can talk upon that, because sometimes at a global level, companies do not ask if you are copying at the individual level. For example, Microsoft. You may be using a personal computer that may be assembled one and not having a genuine copy of Windows, but they do not come and see you. But if it is definitely if it is an organization, for example, running a BTech course in computer science, it means you must be having some certain software licenses, you will be needing it, and they will definitely check that this organization, if it is running BTech computer science, how it is running without license.
So the key point is, I think, you cannot copy.
That's it.
You cannot copy and also get a patent. So if the copying is for selling a product in a country where the original patent holder has not filed a patent application, then it is possible. Did you get it?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other query from GSS Academy? Feel free, without any worries and without any fears. Any query from GSS Academy? Okay.
Hello.
Hanji, welcome.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
From JSS.
Okay. This is JSS. Okay. Please.
Look like this.
Oh, Okay, so you're done. Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll go to Government Women Polytechnic College,
Jaipur.
Jaipur.
Thank you, sir. No such query at our end. Your excellent quality of presentation and the examples you took was quite self-explanatory. So thank you, sir, for this wonderful presentation on technology management and innovation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Gyan Jyoti Group of Institutions.
Gyan Jyoti Group of Institutions.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes.
So it was a nice session on intellectual property and innovation. It was an interactive session, and our faculty it helped our faculty in getting value from it. So thank you, Dr. Uday, for the nice session from your side.
Thank you very much. Then appreciate that. So RD Jindal Group of
They are not with us.
They're not there. Okay.
Vidya.
College of Engineering, Meerut.
You have to turn the mic on from your end. Vidya College of Engineering.
So kindly turn on your external mic. Your mic is off.
No, I can't hear you.
Vidya College of Engineering.
सिर्फ सिस्टम का माइक यूज कर लीजिए आगे आ जाइए सिस्टम के पास
Please use your system's mic.
Your external mic is off.
I feel so. It is not. We are not getting you with the College of Engineering.
Yeah,
Sorry?
Yeah, we're not able to get you. I can't hear you.
Can you come
Sorry.
closer to the system?
Is there anything that you can do to make yourself audible?
Sir, come near to the system and press the unmute button at your center.
On the screen, there must be an unmute button.
Or you can, sir, write your query at the chat box also.
You can listen slightly.
Some voice is there, but not fully.
It is from another side.
Oh, I see.
Are we having them?
Yes.
Vidya College of Engineering?
So your mic is still off.
Can you
Okay,
say,
okay.
can you say something so that we can hear?
Or chat. Okay, anyhow, what we will do, when we will be together in the next session, if you have any query, you can,
Same group
sa-
will be
same,
there in second session.
they will also be there. So you resolve the your audio problem in consultation with Harjot. I request you. Then when we will be connecting back for the second session after 25 minutes, then we can have your query during the second
Okay.
session. Okay, so we are breaking for the tea. On behalf of NITTTR Chandigarh and all the participants, I thank you, Uday sir, for the first session. And after tea time, we will be together again for the next session to have your experiences on board. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. And thank you all the centers for being with us. So we will be connecting back. It's 11.